everybody. I am your host, Kenton David Bell, and welcome to Soul Food and Fuel for Your Life. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning here in Sedona, Arizona, July 23rd. I keep forgetting what day it is today. Um, and we're going to talk about fourth density, that's the fourth dimension, the astral world, and how to navigate it as well. So, the third dimension that most of us used to call reality in the world is pretty much dissolved, at least in my world it is, and many people I know I hear are expressing the similar um, experiences. So we're moving in general, not just individually, but collectively through the fourth and into a fifth dimensional experiences. What we believe we're doing. It's a good way to say it. The world, which is not the same as the planet, is under great stress because of this frequency change, vibrational change on the planet in humanity, and that's part of the reason, or the main reason, is because our solar system in the last couple hundred years started arcing back towards the center of the galaxy. So we just started arcing back, a couple hundred years or 100 years. Is not that long. It's like a second to us in cosmic time. And as we arc back towards the center of the universe, we begin to awaken again to who we are. The frequency on the planet and us all begins to rise. So all the systems that were built in what we call the world, once again, not the same as the planet. The world is the man-made construct that we live in. It's our culture, our society, those norms, all those structures that have kind of held us together for a long time. Now, those are all very limited, actually. I think about the movie The Truman World, or The Truman Show. Excuse me. And in that, Jim Carrey's raised in this little bubble, a dome of a world, and he believes it's the world till he starts to get a sense there's something more out there. Such a great analogy, really. And he does discover that there's something more out there as well. And he asks the hard questions in the movie as well. But we're moving from so the third dimension is pretty much gone. Some people are still trying to track, for instance, time and life through the third dimension, and they've noticed that they're not getting traction anymore. It's because it doesn't exist really anymore. However, your mind, because you don't know what else to do, you've not been told or taught any other tools, is still reaching for the old tools, which are basically rooted in force and not power, trying to get traction in a fourth dimensional space because it's like the floor has been ripped out from underneath you. I'm sure a lot of you have that sensation now. So when we get into a fourth dimensional space, this also correlates with your astral body and the heart as well. And it's through an expression of unconditional love that you begin to move effortlessly through the fourth dimension and into a fifth dimensional experience, if that's appropriate for you. Some people will spend the rest of their life in a fourth dimensional experience. Some will go into a fifth dimensional or even higher experience. Now, I even said higher there, and it sounds like there's a hierarchy there, which it's not a good way to look at it. It's not as though, the higher up you go, the better it is. We're all headed there eventually, I believe. So there's no rush, really. Take your time, have fun, smell the roses along the way. That's one of the things I have difficulty doing myself. So, in the fourth dimensional space, it's all about unconditional love, the practicing of unconditional love, and complete acceptance for what is. Now, you also can use discernment in the fourth dimensional space. That's different than judgment. So it's a great time to really learn and hone up on discernment for yourself, and then you can model it for others. Judgment is one of the main things that gets in the way, I find, at least for me, in a fourth dimensional space. And it could be I'm thinking about something that happened this morning where I had judgment. A very, seemingly innocent thing. I was driving back from West Sedona this morning back home to the village of Oak Creek, and there was this guy in front of me that was veering the whole time into the bicycle lane. Now there was nobody bicycling in there, but it started irritating me. The more it irritated me, the more he did it. And Billy, my partner, she's in the car too, and we started laughing about it, even though I was irritated, because I know that through my irritation, I'm creating more of him veering into the bicycle lane. And part of the reason that irritates me so much is because years ago, my youngest brother was killed riding a bicycle, hit by a taxi cab. That was in Japan. It wasn't here. But nonetheless, I always kind of think safety measures for bicyclists because of that. And so when I see somebody always careening into the bicycle lane, whether there's a bicyclist there or not, it irritates me. Now, that's my own irritation. And that irritation keeps me locked in something. So I'm using this for an example because there's emotion behind it for me. And whenever we have an emotion and a judgment with that in a fourth dimensional space, it really gets us stuck. It's like quicksand there. This is also the land of what I call reflection and projection. Now, some might call it, the mirror world. And it is mirroring, but I like the term reflection and projection better. And we all play a part in this usually when we're in that space, unless we are fairly realized and holding a vertical light in that space. What do I mean by that? What I mean is when you're in a vertical orientation, you're vertically aligned to your higher self. Not necessarily that your higher self is outside of you, but it's more about the alignment you see within, as opposed to what I might call a horizontal experience, where that's more where you're going through life and seeing the world happening at you. In a vertical alignment, it's more about seeing the world flowing through you. So these are some of the distinctions. Distinctions and discernments are very helpful in the fourth dimensional space. Also, the astral. They're kind of the same. Now, this correlates with the fourth layer in your field, which also correlates with the fourth chakra, which is the heart chakra. Once again, about love. So this is where the initiate, and I include all of us in that, by the way, is learning how to master the energies and qualities of this space. Once again, we're in all the spaces simultaneously, okay? We're in all of them simultaneously. But we're focused, our lens and how we're perceiving the world, where we're interfacing is usually in one particular area. And we're talking about the fourth dimension today and the process of reflection and projection. Now, as long as you're in the process of reflection and projection, what a number of things will tell you that you are. One is if you get really irritated with things people are doing outside of you, whether it's politics, friends, work associates, family members, that will tell you that you're kind of stuck in this quagmire of the fourth dimension. And once again, the only way to navigate through it is literally practicing unconditional love towards those people that you feel slighted by, especially, and accepting it. And as you do this, what will happen is you'll notice that you are set free. You'll literally become free. There's a great freedom there. There is a type of work I do in the fourth dimensional space. It's called core light healing. Very powerful. And in the fourth layer of our astral, it's a fourth layer of our field, is the astral body. And in the astral body is where most of our wounds and traumas are held. And they're usually encapsulated kind of with a defense mechanism around them. I always kind of liken it to, a peanut M&M with the candy coating around it. Think of the peanut as the actual wound, the trauma, or the very intense memory from either this life or past life. And the layers around it are usually the defense mechanism that the healer has to get through. So, for instance, when we say somebody gets triggered, what they're doing is they're bumping up against the defense mechanism that is actually protecting the trauma, as opposed to allowing the trauma to work its way out. As humans, we have a tendency to hang on to that. So you cannot really pass through the fourth dimension and live in a higher reality without addressing these wounds. Doesn't mean you have to address all of these traumas, wounds, past life memories, but you need to begin to address them in a fashion that allows you to dip into the fifth dimensional space and then kind of go back and forth. So it's not about just moving from one space into the other and then leaving it behind, because we transcend and include always. And we're learning mastery here, so we learn how to go up and down through the process, you see. So it's not about getting the fifth dimension and staying there. That's very unrealistic. So we're going to talk more about this. This is just kind of the beginning. But if you find yourself very emotionally charged and having judgment around with others around this stuff, you want to look at some of what we're talking about. These are tools for you to practice to move through, develop the mastery, so you're not trapped by it. And as you do so, there's an incredible sense of freedom that you'll begin to experience. Let's see. I'm trying to think what I want to add to that at the moment. So let's do this. Just a quick little tune. I want you to close your eyes. And as you close your eyes, I want you to think of whoever comes to mind, just a person. It could be somebody close. It could be somebody that's not so close, but somebody you've had some interaction with recently that you feel like rubbed you the wrong way. Okay? Just tune into that person, and I'm sure somebody will pop up right away. Trust whoever shows up. And I want you to look at them and kind of say to yourself as well as them, I'm sorry, I love you, forgive me, I release you. I'm sorry, I forgive you, I love you, I release you. And just see what happens. Just notice what energies move, what doesn't move. Practice that a few times if you need to. Kind of like a short version of a Ho'oponopono. We're going to keep this kind of short today. This is just a little tidbit, really needed out in the world right now. So practice this, think about it, and we're going to add some more to this real soon. I am your host, Kenton David Bell. This is Soul Food and Fuel for Your Life. Have a great day. Oh, there's the alarm. Time to go. Alexa, count